We are alive here on Instagram. Good morning. Happy Saturday. We are finishing up part 2, all about tracking macros, flexible dieting. And today we're diving into tips, tricks, and most common mistakes that I see when you're first getting started tracking macros. So if you've ever been interested or maybe a little timid when it comes to tracking macros, but want to get started, want to get successful, at flexible dieting, this is a live for you. All right, so if this is your first time joining me on a live training, make sure you let me know down below and say hello. I want to welcome you here. Or if you're tuning in live, make sure you hashtag team live, hashtag team replay down below in the comments so I know that you're catching this live or on the replay. And if this is one of millions of trainings you've watched before, definitely still say hello, because I want to thank you so much for joining. So let's get started, because this is going to be a good one. And I have a feeling we're going to have some eye-opening moments here when it comes to MyFitnessPal, okay? So that's really what we're getting into, the nitty-gritty here of MyFitnessPal. And there are a lot of other macro tracking apps out there. I know Cronometer is another really popular one. I actually have a client of mine that uses, I think it's called My Macros, and swears by it and loves it. But MyFitnessPal is the one that I'm most familiar with, the one that I've always used. I've dabbled in others and always come back to MyFitnessPal. It's easy, it's simple, and it's comfortable to me. It's like coming home, weirdly enough. But okay, how to get started. How to get started tracking your macros. Well, step 1 is just downloading MyFitnessPal. Just download MyFitnessPal on your phone. Get the app. It's free. You can download the paid option if you want. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of amazing features that come with that, but it's not necessary. Okay? I have never paid for MyFitnessPal in my life. It's not necessary. Everything you need to be able to just track your macros and hit your macros and be successful at that is available in the free option. Now, if you're wanting some more bells and whistles and just, want to be extra in that way, go ahead and get that paid version. So there's definitely some extra things that it offers. Download MyFitnessPal, the free version, okay? Also, step number 2, you got to pick up a food scale. I recommend going to Amazon, not trying to get one at your grocery store, because the options are usually pretty limited there. Hop on Amazon, search food scale. What you want to look for is something with a large face, okay? You don't want something super tiny that you're trying to fit a plate on, or a large bowl or whatever. You want something with a large surface area, okay? I like the digital ones. And then also, pro tip, you want to make sure that you purchase a food scale that comes with either AAA or AA batteries. There's a reason for this, okay? A lot of times if you don't pay attention, you'll get a food scale. Works wonderfully, but it comes with these little kind of weird, unusual, watch type batteries in them, okay? And then eventually your food scale is going to run out of batteries, right? And if it's, not a common battery, it can kind of be hard to find, especially quickly, especially ASAP, especially just running to the store. You just never know if it's going to be there or not. AAA and AA batteries are everywhere and very easy to come by, okay? So that's another little pro tip I'd recommend for you guys, all right? Download MyFitnessPal free version. Get a food scale that either takes AAA or AA batteries. Got it? Now, just start logging your food. Just start. There's no specific way to start. You just start. Wake up one morning and start logging every single thing you consume, okay? When I start working with a new client, I need 7 complete days consecutively of food logs. Everything that you're eating and drinking that has a calorie to it, basically. Okay? So log it all. All right? Use those barcodes. If what you're consuming has a barcode, comes in a package Scan the barcode to get the most accurate entry. Okay, don't rely on what's already in there. So just scan all the barcodes. And honestly, you can just go into your kitchen maybe the night before and start scanning everything. Just scan everything you have, and therefore it's going to be in your database. It's going to be in your library. So it's going to be easy for you to find on the fly. Okay, so just scan as much as you can. And then you also want to make sure that you're weighing things. You're weighing things to get the most accurate amount into your log, okay? Don't rely on like spoons and cups, measuring spoons, measuring cups. Weigh that sucker, no matter what it is, okay? Weigh it in grams. That's going to be the absolute most accurate way to get your food tracked day to day, okay? So use barcodes, weigh your food. You want to get accurate as you can. Don't just like use these general entries that you're finding in MyFitnessPal that are already there, because you never know. You never know if those are legit and you can trust those, okay? Or if those are the things that you're eating, right? Anyone can put an entry into MyFitnessPal. Any human on this planet that has MyFitnessPal can throw an entry in there, okay? So if you are using entries that you're already finding that are in there, I think usually the legit ones have like a little check mark next to them. I think it's blue, kind of like on Instagram. But if they don't, make sure that you're checking, okay? And you can compare that entry either to the label of the food that you're eating if it came in a package, or if there isn't a label, if it's not a packaged food, just do a quick little Google search. Just do a quick Google search, super fast, super easy, and just look up whatever it is, macros, okay? And then double check the entry to what you find on Google. Or you can even just find that actual item on the internet. Just Google what it is you're eating. It pulls up a photo of the item in its package. If Walmart sells it, or if Target sells it, or if Amazon sells it, you can zoom in on that item on the food label and see the actual food label if for whatever reason you don't have the package or you threw it away or whatever. Okay? So make sure you're getting as accurate as possible. Don't use general entries. Try to steer away from general entries. And anything that already exists, if you have to use them, just make sure you're double checking them and they're super, super accurate, okay? Now, once you do that for 7 days, take a look at what you're eating. Take a look at what your macros are every single day. And you can look at, your averages for the week. You can add them all up and then divide them by 7. Or just look at them like individually day to day. What's your protein like? What are your carbs like? Your total amounts, total amount of protein, total amount of carbs, total amount of fats. What does it tend to be? Okay, sometimes it's just all over the place day to day, and that's okay too. All right, but we have to get an accurate snapshot of what you're doing. Just be normal while you're doing this for those first 7 days. Don't be like, now I'm logging. I got to be on my best behavior and do the right things and make the right decisions. That doesn't help, okay? I tell my clients, I need to know exactly what you do now, currently, today, normally, because we have to be able to figure out what we've got to change, right? We won't know if we need to go right, left, up, down, forward, backwards. We don't know where to go if we don't know where we are, okay? So be honest, be truthful, be normal for those 7 days. And that's a true snapshot of what your nutrition really is, okay? So once you take a look at your macros, you've gathered that information for those 7 days, and it's just exciting. These are exciting times. Now we know what we need to start working on, what we need to start changing, and what direction we need to go in, okay? And I usually start off all of my clients with a single macro. We go one macro at a time and master that, and it's protein. Macro number 1 is protein, okay? Are you eating around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day? So for instance, I weigh 150 pounds. I need 150 grams of protein per day. Okay, and if you're not, we need to start moving towards that number, okay? Usually for women, it's much lower than where it needs to be. So we need to gradually start increasing to get to that number, okay? If it's too high, bring it back down. We just need to get around 1 gram per pound of body weight per day, okay? Then I start looking at the other macros, fat. Fat usually makes the biggest difference when we adjust that and get it where it needs to be, because fat is going to be the most calorically dense of the 3 macros. 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. It's crazy, right? So a tiny bit of fat will pack a super high calorie punch. So if we even adjust that slightly, it's going to go further than any of the other macros, right? So we've got to get your fat in place. Is it too low? Okay, so that's unhealthy, right? Because we know fat's the hormone macro. Is it too high? If it's too high because a tiny bit is so calorically dense, then you're just eating too many extra calories every day. We bring that back down where it needs to be, and boom, stuff starts happening. Okay, and usually what I see is protein's too low and fat is way too high through the roof, right? When we change those 2 things, poof, we are blaring forward like a freight train. Okay, so that will make the biggest difference. So get your fat in check, all right? And then you want to decide if you are a carby kind of girl, or if you're a fat lover. And I have a client that she just loves the fat. Bring it on, and her body responds really, really well to that. So anytime I give her the option, well, we can increase fat or we can increase carbs, I really don't even need to ask her, because I just know she wants more fat. So what do you enjoy the most, right? But also we need to take into consideration your lifestyle, okay? So if you're a high level athlete, or if you really enjoy high intensity style workouts, CrossFit, Orange Theory, spin, boot camps, F45s, stuff like that, Tabatas, high intensity, you're jacking that heart rate up, okay? That's going to require more carbohydrates, not only for the fuel to do these things, but also your recovery after the fact. Okay, so you need more carbohydrates than someone else that's not doing that stuff. Okay, so you've got to kind of take an inventory, figure out for yourself, I really enjoy this, or I know that I need this, right? And that's going to kind of dictate, well, we need, maybe more carbs, or we don't need this many carbs, or we need a little bit more fat just because I love it, or we need less fat because I don't need it, that sort of thing, okay? So you've got to figure that out for yourself. And then you can kind of build out your macro split based on those things. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And then, where do I want my carbs and fat to be? And as long as they're at least where they need to be, then I can kind of adjust them even more to what I enjoy. Okay? So those are how we kind of adjust the 3 macros. Once you've got those macros mastered and you are just nailing those, it's nothing every single day. This might take a few weeks, okay? You can't just overnight nail your macros every single day if you haven't ever done this before. I usually go a week. I give my clients a week to master each macro. So if we're starting with protein, that's a week. Then we adjust fats, that's a week. Then we go to carbs, that's a week. And then we can make some tweaks, that's another week, okay? You're looking at some time, all right? From there, once you got that figured out and mastered, then we start looking at micros, all right? And just kind of some habits. some habit-based goals. So an example of that would be vegetables. Are we eating enough vegetables? We need to eat vegetable at every single meal. We need to get half a plate. We need to more vegetables and fruit and color into our days, okay? So that's a behavior-based goal. And a micro-based goal, right? All those nutrients, vitamins, and minerals coming into play, all right? Another micro-based goal would be like fiber. Are you getting enough fiber every single day? That needs to be in place. I usually recommend anywhere from 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day. So make sure you're checking that out in your MyFitnessPal. It holds all this data for you, so you have an easy place to check it out. Fiber, vegetables, fruit, omega-3s. Are you getting enough omega-3s in your diet? So we've got this fat goal, all right? But it needs to be healthy fats. It needs to have a healthy balance of omega-3s and omega-6s. And that's very, very important because the majority of us out there, Americans, our balance is off between omega-3s and omega-6. We've got a ton of omega-6s and not enough omega-3s. That's why we take fish oil supplements, right? So we want to make sure that that's in place and those are balanced. Omega-3s are good, okay? And that's how you get started. That's how you get started tracking macros and using MyFitnessPal, okay? I'm about to dive into some tips and tricks for you guys to make this a little bit easier and just to kind of get to know MyFitnessPal a little bit better. Are y'all ready? So here we go. One of the, where should I start? Okay, let's start here. One of the biggest mistakes I see people making when logging their foods is, well, obviously inaccuracies, but one of the reasons you can get some inaccurate readings in MyFitnessPal, a lot of times you don't understand it, like you don't realize it. It's not on purpose. You just don't put it together, and that's okay. Okay? When we are weighing raw or cooked food, but we're entering something different. So if you're weighing your food raw, say you weigh out 8 grams of raw meat, but then you log 8 grams of cooked meat, okay? When meat gets cooked, it shrinks, right? So if you're weighing 8 grams of raw and you're logging 8 grams of cooked, you're actually logging maybe like 10 plus grams of raw, right? You're logging too many calories, okay? So if you weigh 8 grams of raw, make sure you're logging it as 8 grams of raw. If you're logging cooked, make sure you're weighing it cooked, okay? Is that making sense? They've got to be the same. Don't weigh it one way, but then log it a different way. And same with not just meats, okay? All meats do that. All meats shrink when you cook them, okay? But dry goods as well. So like rices and pastas on the box, on the package, typically that label is based on a raw item, okay? So the serving size, all those macros that are on there is for a serving size of raw pasta. Maybe 56 grams of raw pasta. These are the macros. But if you're using those macros, but you're weighing 56 grams of cooked pasta, it's not going to be accurate, okay? So make sure you're checking raw versus cooked and make sure you're getting the right entries in there and you're weighing the right stuff, okay? Oh, this is a fun one. So for those times that maybe you don't have MyFitnessPal readily on hand or you just don't want to whip out your phone, happens often, you know, if we're out about or being social or traveling or whatever. These are just a few quick little tips that I give my clients I thought might be fun to run you guys through. So we can get a general idea of how many, of our macros, what macros we're consuming by using our hand. Okay, if we don't have a scale, we can use our hand. So a palm of protein, usually about this big, the size of your palm, okay, is around about 25 grams of protein. Okay, you just want to keep that in mind. should you ever need it. Keep that back pocket. A handful, your whole hand of carbs is about the same, 25 grams of carbs, about. Okay, we all have different sized hands. One thumb, like a full thumb, the whole thing, is about 15, 16 grams of fat. Okay, so we've got 25 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, 15 grams of fat. And about half a thumb is about like 8 grams of fat. Okay, so that's kind of some cool information for you guys to keep in mind. Let's talk MyFitnessPal tricks. Some tricks I got for you guys. Hopefully y'all love this. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got a lot of tricks for you guys to master this. And I actually have this video and a YouTube video where I like actually show you on the screen. It's like a screen video of MyFitnessPal, me going through and using all these. I can't show you here because I'm using my phone to record. I wish I had another phone. But I'm going to try and explain these verbally to y'all. So if you have your phones, your MyFitnessPal, probably watching this on your phone, but you can pull that out. So you can change your serving sizes when you're logging stuff, okay? So say a serving size in MyFitnessPal of, I don't know, pasta is 56 grams. One serving size, 56 grams. But you weighed out something crazy and random, like 77 grams. You're eating 77 grams of pasta. So how do I know what my macros are? Taking these macros from 56, but I'm eating 77. So instead of trying to figure out and convert that, like how many times is 56 going to 77? Or maybe you had like 32. Like, how do I convert 56 to 32 to find out my macros? I didn't eat the actual serving size, so this is now hard. I'm not a mathematician. You can actually change the serving size in MyFitnessPal, okay? So if on the box and on the label, it's in grams, 56 grams for one serving, you can actually change it to one serving equals 1 gram. So then you can just go in there and say, I had 77 grams, and poof, it figures it out for you. Or I had 42 or 32 grams, and poof, it figures it out for you. How amazing is that? So now you don't have to be a mathematician anymore. Removes that from your life, okay? Or you can even change the serving type completely. So not just the size from 56 grams to 1. You can actually change the type. So for instance, like blueberries. One serving of blueberries might be 1 cup. But you didn't weigh cups, you weighed grams. And you had 33 grams of blueberries. And now you've got to convert, like how many grams are in a cup? Right? And then I had 33 of that. So what does that mean? You got fractions, division, multiplication, like, I don't know what to do. You can actually change the serving type from cup to gram and make it 1 gram, and you have 33 of those. Poof! You know exactly what you just consumed. How amazing is that? I love this, the multi-add feature. So when you're in your diary, you go to add a food, there's your list and library of foods you got. You can go down to the bottom at the blue bar that says multi-add, boom, and you could just add, I want this, 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 this. Add it all together. You don't have to add one thing at a time, change the serving size, then go back to add, go through the list, find your item, add that, change the serving and everything. You can just add like 10 things at once. Then you got to go in and adjust the servings and how much you actually had of those. Boom, multi-add. You can actually add your entire meal at a time. So if you go into your food diary, you go to add a food, and then up at the top, instead of searching a food, you go meal. You say add meal from yesterday. You can add your entire meal from yesterday if you're eating the exact same thing, or maybe you're eating the same foods, but different amounts. You can still add the meal and then adjust the serving sizes or amounts. It's literally just like a copy and paste feature. So if you're someone like me that just eats the same thing every single day, You don't have to go in and like track every single item and relog every single item. You just, boom, add your meal. Boom, add your meal. So I'm literally touching like 8 buttons in MyFitnessPal per day. And just makes your life so much easier. Streamlines everything. This is a fun one that a lot of people don't know exists, is the location tab. So when you go to add your food, instead of searching for a food item, there's a little, you see the location tab that maybe you'd see on like MapQuest, or if MapQuest exists, Google Maps. You can search restaurants in your area where you're at. If you're at a restaurant and you want to log something, click that location, the restaurant pops up, and if they have their menu in MyFitnessPal, which a lot of them do nowadays, you can just search for that item from the menu and enter it in yourself. And it's done for you. Some restaurants don't have that, but a lot of them do now. Okay? How amazing. And then menus differ from location to location, right? But use that location tab if you're ever out and about. Just give it a try and see what happens. If you can't find what you're looking for, it doesn't already exist in MyFitnessPal, or if you just like don't trust any of the ones that do exist already, create your own entry. Okay? So I believe it's right next to that location tab. There's a plus. Create your own entry. All right? You get to control the macros and the calories that go into that entry, and then it's there for you to use for the rest of your life. And you know it's accurate, you know it's reliable because you created it. You have the control. Okay? So start creating your own entries for the foods that you eat, if you need them, right? And you just know that it's correct because you created it, right? And then you start compiling like a list of the items that you created in your own library. Pie chart. So I use the pie chart to track my macros, and I check it 1 million times a day if I need to. Okay. I don't use the numbers up at the top. Those are just, those don't exist to me. And I definitely don't even look at the calories. So in order to check my macros to make sure they're on point or I'm where I need to be anytime throughout the day, looking at your food diary for the day, go down to the bottom right, and there's this little like 3 dots, more tab. Tap on that. Then you scroll down and look for nutrition. Tap on that. Poof, your pie chart pops up. And underneath that pie chart, it'll tell you exactly this many grams of protein, this many grams of carbs, this many grams of fat for your day, where you are at any point in the day. And then you know you're hitting it or not. You're making it or you're not. Or you can pre-log your entire day, and that's where you go to check. Boom, I've nailed it. Or I didn't nail it. Let's go back and make some adjustments before I wake up tomorrow and actually follow this, right? So make sure you're using that pie chart to track your macros, because that's going to be the easiest, simplest, most accurate way, okay? And then you can also check your fiber from there. So when you're looking at your pie chart at the top, those are your macros. But if you click on the nutrients tab, then you've got all your micros. And you can check your fiber right there. Easy peasy. Make sure you're getting that 25 to 35 grams, right? This is a good one. So you can actually customize the amount of meals you have in your diary and the names of your meals in your diary. So if you're looking at your diary, it might say something like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. I think that's how it's standard comes out, just normally. Well, maybe I have a snack in between breakfast and lunch, or a snack in between lunch and dinner. And I want to make this as easiest on my nutrition coach as possible to tell what I'm eating and when throughout the day. All right? Instead of just putting in your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then like maybe you have 3 snacks throughout the day, but you're just compiling them all into that one snack section at the bottom. Well, how do I know when you're eating those snacks? Or how do I know that you're eating throughout the day as well? I don't, because it's just all down here at the bottom. So you can go into and customize. I need to add 2 more meals into my diary, and maybe I want to name them something specific, and you can get pretty creative. Can name them anything you want. They don't have to be breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner snack. You can be like 10 a.m. snack or bedtime snack or second breakfast or whatever you want. Get creative. So that's super fun too. I think that's in your settings and diary settings. Okay. Last, but certainly not least, this is probably the most valuable one, in my opinion, the most valuable tip for you guys. So listen up, girlfriend. So if you're looking at your MyFitnessPal normally on your phone, if you got an iPhone, right? It's like this. You're looking at your food diary. So you've got your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, or maybe you just change them all in your diary settings. Turn your phone sideways. And then it becomes a whole new thing. It's a whole new app, a whole new world. And it's crazy because on a normal food diary, you just see like whole eggs and then calories, I believe, right? You flip your phone sideways, you see all of your food entries, and then you see all of the macros that come with it. So it'll say whole eggs, and then it'll say like fat, protein, carbohydrates, sugar, calories, everything you need to know. And it's just a line item by line item, all of the macros and some of the micros, not all of them. And that's super, super useful, especially in the beginning when you're kind of learning about foods, learning about your macros and where your macros are coming from. Maybe you have a fat problem and your fat is through the roof and you need to get that under control. What's the fastest way to find out where all of that fat is coming from? Open your food diary, turn it sideways. Okay, because then you've got this column of all of your fat for the day. Got boom, 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 all your food items, and you see exactly what has how much fat in it. Mind blown. Or maybe you need to increase your protein. So turn your diary sideways and you see all of your entries and then how much protein they all have in them. So maybe you need to like double up this amount of chicken or like put something here in your lunch with more protein. That's probably my favorite and super, super, super useful. Okay. So turning your phone sideways and it just lines up all of your macros in a straight little column for you to just like learn. We're collecting all this data. We want to learn from it, right? That's all I got for you guys. Those are my best tips and tricks for mastering MyFitnessPal. If this is your first rodeo here, hopefully those were useful. Do you guys use these already or are these brand new to you? Let me know down below in the comments what was probably the biggest eye-opener for you or the most useful tip or trick that I just told you. Or did you know all of them? Were you like, these are old? That's okay too. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy Saturday. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. We got some more nutrition trainings coming for you in the coming weeks, so definitely keep an eye out for that on next Tuesday. See you guys then. Bye.